of local people. Those are genuine issues which I find resonating even in Bulawayo, with people on the ground and even the resident associations there. So it is important.
Just to come in there, you are saying that you yourself say that these accusations or these things that are being leveled there is some variety. You've come across people who buy into that and agree with those sentiments.
Yes, in general. Like, let me give an example. Honorable Prince raises something which is problematic, especially for me, which I can't even answer to, because if you were to apply to him that imposed himself, I don't think you'll be able to sustain that. So he is correct there. I don't think the blanket approach was good. That should be a concession. But there are clear cases in Bulawayo in particular, because that's where I am, where there were people who came to assist the party in one or the other. And all of a sudden, I can give an example. What one councillor is not from Bulawayo. He just came to assist the party. Then the next thing he was imposed there. Now he is a councillor. He can't speak the local language to the people. He's not helpful to the people. So they're raising that. And even people are raising that. Even the rest associations are raising that. So if you dismiss those concerns, then you are not going to be able to find it out. It is very important that the Triple C puts his house in order and stops this. There is no question in my mind that the biggest beneficiary will be done. There is no question in anyone's mind. And that
so let me just come in. Sorry again. Sorry to interject. But as you say, the solution or the best way forward is to find each other. Why not exhaust that first before going this very dramatic route?
It's a good question. But as I said earlier on, the interim SD says he did engage. He did engage, he used different platforms, different people. But it will seem as if he did hit a brick wall. And then this was the last option. But he said the door is still open for negotiations. And in one public statement, he said the Honorable President sent emissaries led by Honorable Teams. And he's willing to engage there. I must say, it is extremely important that the opposition doesn't mess this one up, because then will get that threat treated, and you know what they will do with it. They will reverse all the gains which we achieved in that constitutional making process.
Let me take a few more listener comments and contributions and then allow the guests to come through. Pointed question to you, Honorable Pugeni. Which residential associations are you talking about? Watson is from Bulawayo and stays in our area. You and Shabangu are not from Bulawayo South. What do you want? I advise Pugeni to walk away from Mabaserima at Shabangu. Trust me, the money you are getting paid is not worth selling out the people's struggle. Triple C should clean their own mess rather than blaming the ruling party. The opposition was never an organized party. I want to read a few more. Thank you so much for these who are getting in touch. Why is the speaker taking note of unregistered? The speaker must take note of registered party members in Zimbabwe's constitutional laws. Zimbabwean leadership is lacking respect for Zimbabweans. Old men, do you think 10,000 people who voted for Watson don't know her or spend time with her? We are not crazy. There's two more I just want to read, and then I'll come to you, Honorable Dibeko Swanda. First of all, so why is the Speaker of Parliament actioning letters from people who cannot be verified? If I write recalling ZANU-PF MPs with no traceable link on any person to ZANU-PF, would he action the letter? And then there is one here that is asking does the Triple C do you have any written documentation to speak to this? Okay, does the Triple C have a written document that speaks to these clusters and their leadership, spelling out their roles? Does the CCC party have a constitution? I'll start with you on that one, Honorable Dibeko Swanda. Is there documentation to support these clusters? And then also this key issue of why is the Speaker of Parliament accepting that letter if you are saying this person is not bona fide?
The Triple C has got a constitution that speaks to the structures that it has. And one of those structures is the cluster. I'm happy that Honorable Pugen has indicated that Sengezo Shabangu was a member of one of such structures, one of these clusters in Binga. I also appreciate that he says Sengezo Shabangu has got issues. And I've had an opportunity to hear some of his issues. Indeed, some of his issues are reasonable. There are issues that ordinarily have to be entertained when they are raised. But I think where I tend to differ with him is his modality of way of expressing his views or the concerns that he has. Look, as a member of a cluster in Binga, he had a cluster leader and a deputy cluster leader. The cluster leader was Joel Gabuza, Honorable. The deputy cluster leader was one champion IC Dube from Cholocho South. He could have raised, because those people, then they come together with the rest of the leadership of the Triple C in the country. So if he had raised those issues with those two cluster leaders, because these two cluster leaders never raised those issues at the Citizens National Assembly. So if he had raised those issues with them, I'm sure those issues would have been considered. But when he failed to raise them, what did he do? He signed for parallel candidates. They were rejected by the citizens. If I were him, that would have been a very, very serious message to you, to say to the people have chosen these ones and not the ones that you have. Nonetheless, you have got your issues. With the issues that you have, bring them on the table. They can be looked into and surely be dealt with. Don't go out there and decimate the people's project. Don't go out there and decimate the people's hope. Because look, in my view, and I call this recklessness. Indeed, you can be as livid as possible about certain issues, but there are certain actions that are not supposed to be taken. Okay? You don't take voters and the electorate for granted and say, okay, I'm taking away the person that you chose to lead you or to represent you just because I'm angry about a particular issue. You present your issues in a particular way and they can be attended to. You know, like I indicated, some of these issues that he said, really they're reasonable issues, but let him bring them on the platform in a better manner than in a manner that he wants to do right now. Yes.
We're almost out of time. I want to ask you, Honorable, something, because obviously we saw the events that happened in Parliament yesterday.
Yes.
You were ejected from Parliament, and subsequent to that, you've been suspended from being in sittings, but you as a party have taken a stand to say you are withdrawing. Again, in a similar vein, is that not a withdrawal? Because is that not a betrayal, rather, of the people? Because essentially you are giving free rein to the ruling party to do what it wants while you're not standing.
They will never have an opportunity to do a free rein in the Parliament of Zimbabwe, because the Parliament of Zimbabwe is a creature of statute. And whatever activities that it does, they are within the four corners of the statute. Okay? Now, are we betraying the electorate? No, we are not betraying the electorate. The electorate sent us to Parliament to be as effective as possible in our duties as members of Parliament. And if this environment is not good enough for us to go there and discharge our duties as members of Parliament, then we have got no business of being there.
What happens if the ultimatum that you've issued is not met?
We will pronounce to the public at the appropriate time. But for now, we are disengaging, not only in Parliament, in local authorities and provincial councils.
Fantastic. problem we have is the issue of toxicity by those who call others not coming from a particular region. It's a shame from African politics, which does not bring food in our homes, but their friends who want to be councillors or MPs. So effectively, it doesn't matter where, well, it would be great, if they're not from Matabele, but they are there to represent the people and their voice of the people. So if they're able to engage and still take, those people's hopes, aspirations, and issues to Parliament, why should that be a problem? But I'll put this, final question to you before we wrap up.
Okay, thank you. I wish you could call me sometime just to tackle that question. So I won't put my face to it if I try and attempt it now. But just call me, give me enough time. Let me just address that issue of representation, how important it is, and how central it is to our struggle for democracy in this country. When it comes to the issue of Honorable Watson, Honorable Watson, like Honorable today, is a close friend of mine. I am pained by things that happened to my colleague. Now, coming here, as I've already told you, is to give you the side of the interim SG. So if you don't like the side, it's okay. But I could have also chickened out, maybe, and then you would not have had the side. We have had the side, and you have had to honor it, to accept that his grievances, some of them warrant attention. It differs with the way he went about it. But there are genuine grievances. And that was the most important reason why.
Okay, we seem to have lost that line. Unfortunately, the network playing tricks on us there, being a bit jealous. But I want to thank Honorable Pugeni for coming through and being a guest on the show. As he said, representing the side, speaking on behalf of the interim SG. He is working in the office of the purported interim SG in the communications department. I want to thank you so much, Honorable Senator Kalpani Pugeni, for coming through and joining us on the line. I also want to thank Honorable Prince Dubeko Sibanda. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you, Farah.
Unfortunately, I think this is a topic that would require much more time for us to unpack. But what we'll certainly do is follow and watch developments in Parliament and where this goes, and hopefully bring more players to come in and to talk about it. I want to thank all the listeners who listened and tuned in, and in particular those who got in touch with and interacted with us. Unfortunately, because of time, we couldn't get to all the messages, and we must end the discussion here. But I want to thank you so much. Up next is the Y Zone show, so please stay tuned for that and a whole lot more. It is Farai Mwakutuya saying good night and see you again next week.